When I was around 8 years old, we had a school trip. And you all know how exciting it is when the teacher walks in the classroom and gives you envelopes or letters to take to your parents to tell them that you're going to have a field trip. And I remember we were supposed to go to, at the airport at the meteorological department. And it was so exciting. And the whole, I think we had maybe 3-4 weeks before the date. And I was dreaming about, you know, it's going to be so exciting to see all the planes coming in, to see all the planes leaving. It's going to be exciting to see all the weather forecast presenters. By then, we didn't have like weather forecasting being done in studios. It was all done at the airport. And so for all these weeks, I was dreaming towards that day to go and meet all these people, all these idols I only get to see on the television. And finally, the day arrived, and we went from one room to another. We were learning about the windsock and all these different things which we only see in books in the classrooms. And I remember one of the staff who was taking us around asked us if any of us has ever been in a plane before. And I was in a pretty, when we talk of schools, it was considered a little bit average or below average financially for your kid to go to that school. So none of us had ever seen how it looks like inside an airplane. So when he asked if any of us has been to a plane, raise your hand, we all were, because we only see planes in the television and in the books. And quoting his word, he said, he looked at us and said, I bet some of you will die without even stepping in a plane. And that was not really a good thing to tell a 6-7-year-old. You know? So my dreams for the whole month, looking forward to go to this meteorological department, kind of started fading away. And that's like my mindset, and such things really play a big impact, especially to kids. You know, you think like, why struggle? After all, this person already told me this. And just briefly talking about my journey and all the way coming here to Cayman as well. I didn't know where Cayman Island was. I had no idea. By then, we didn't have like easy internet as we have right now. We had to go to a cyber cafe. It was very expensive to access the internet and very, very slow. So all I knew after I became a dive instructor, I was like, I want to go and explore the Caribbean. I want to go diving in the Caribbean. I shared this spark, I shared this dream with one of my dive instructor, who looked at me and said, Anne, no, you know, you won't get a job there. You have to have this much years experience before someone in the, we do have, as a PADI instructor, we have an employment board where you can post your resume. So it was like, you know, people who go there, they look for people who have like 5-10 years experience. So there's no way you're going to be accepted. And I took his word. There was another dream down the drain. And after a while, I don't know what just sparked me again. And one day I just decided, let me walk to a cyber cafe. Let me download my resume. Let me check all the Caribbean countries I know with the job opportunities and just drop my resume, and that's what I did. And I was surprised, 1 to 2 weeks, there were all these responses coming in. Okay, they were all like, you know, we regret to inform you that. But it was something, you know. It was really something for me. And then I remember this job in Cayman Islands. I got a very good email reply, but the email was like, unfortunately, we just hired someone. And I was like, anyway, I'll try again. Within a week or two, the same person contacted me and said the person decided not to come to Cayman Islands. Are you still interested in the job? And there I was, yes. I'm going to go to Cayman Islands. Where's Cayman Islands? I don't know. Somewhere in the Caribbean. I tried to find it in all those small diaries, you know, where they have the maps. And they were not really so detailed. And I don't know if we had Google Map then. I'm not sure. I was hardly using the internet. And then I walked into the travel agent to try and ask how much it's going to cost me, you know, for my ticket to Cayman. And the guy who worked there knew me. We used to go to the same church. And he's like, it's too much money. I don't think you're going to be able to pay. And I'm like, how much? And the ticket was $2,500 because I was coming in the high season. And here I am. I have no savings. I have nothing. I'm going to a country I have no idea. I don't know if this job is genuine or not. I took the step. I asked around. Eventually, somebody lent me the $2,500. Took the plane, came to Cayman Island. I have no idea. I don't know anyone. And the first thing, my boss looked at my face and said, "You're a very brave young girl." And that's what we should do. Sometimes we have to take the step. You know, it might work. It might be a genuine job. It might not. But we just have to try. So my question is, why are you here? Why do you go to work every day? Why do you go for those who do sports? Why do you go for training every day? For those who study, you go to university, to college, or you study online. Why? Why are you doing that all the time? Growing up in high school, I was privileged enough to be selected to join the swim school. And during practice, I mean, for those who've been in big teams, you know you always have the player or the person who always shines, who is always the winner. And most of the time, we always shy away to compete with them as much as we are still in the same team. And that's exactly the same thing that happened to me. We used to have this girl who was good, name the stroke, freestyle, breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly. She was good at everything. And during practice time, whenever the teacher will pair us up to practice, nobody wanted to pair up with her because she'll be 10 laps and you're still on your first lap. So we didn't want to pair up and practice with her. And I had the privilege of having my sister, who was also a swim coach. And one day we were just talking about my swim progress, and I mentioned this to her. And she told me, you should always try and pair yourself up with this girl who is the best in your club. And it took me a while of thinking, and I was like, Then I decided to take her advice. And guess what? Before long, I was in the same level with this girl. And then sooner or later, I was the #1 with breaststroke in our club. And so she was #2 and I was #1. Okay, she was still good with the other strokes. But, you know, that is something. You know, somebody had to try and somebody had to put the effort. And some other times when she's in the pool, I'll just walk on the side and I'll just look at her stroke, I'll look at her arms, I'll look at her legs, and just learn from that. And then I'll be in the water trying to do that. So that changed my mindset, just my sister telling me that you need to compete with this person. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about mindset a little bit later. There we go. So according to the principle of Carol Dweck, we do have 2 types of mindsets in life. We do have the fixed mindset people. The fixed mindset, they believe that, you know, you're born with a certain talent. That's it. That's who you are, you know, and you cannot change anything about it. They hate failure. They hate to be corrected. For them, practice is only for failures. You know, for them, you're either good or you're bad. That's how their mindset is. We have the growth mindset. The growth mindset kind of people, they like to learn, they like to explore. Every day, anything that's new, challenge them. Anything that whenever they're corrected, for them it's an opportunity to grow, it's an opportunity to learn. Talking of that, couple of months ago, maybe now 2 or 3 months, I had just finished teaching one of my students. He's around 4 years old. And so we're just having this discussion with the mom. And the mom was telling me how she wants to do some swim classes for herself. But she has this fear because as a child she almost drowned and it's never got out of her brain and everything. And for me, I thought I was helping her by telling her, you know what? I'm also in the same boat with you. And I used to bike before and I had no problem. And one time I fell off my bike and a car almost, you know, ran over me. And from then, I don't want to do anything with bike. You know, I'll watch other people on the bicycle, that's fine. But put me on a bike, no. And then later on, I was thinking about that. It looks like a very innocent statement. But I look at it and there was a 4-year-old there with me. there was this woman who wants to overcome her fears in this particular situation. What am I teaching them? How am I going to teach this 4-year-old to improve in whatever, maybe he's having problems putting his face in the water or kicking or floating? How am I going to stand tomorrow and tell him, like, you know, you can get over your fears, just keep practice and do this and that? So that goes again, whatever we speak is very important, especially in front of young kids, but also in front of adults as well. And I like to tell you that from that experience, I took the brave step, and now I'm back on my bike, and getting there, baby steps, but I can move from point A to B on a bike. So most of the time we think like certain people are gifted or they're born with this talent. I can't do this. I can't do that, or I can do this, I can do that. And if I ask, is there anyone who speaks or can write or read in Chinese in the room here? Just by the raise of hand. Okay, we have one. We have two. Okay, that's good. And if I ask the rest of us, apart from the two, if I tell you that you can one day be able to speak in Chinese and write and read, will you believe me? Yes. Yeah? Okay. I'm getting more yeses. That's good. Okay, most of the times, yes, you will hear a lot of no's. And you'll hear a lot of no's in also different fields, you know. Like if I point to maybe Mr. John and say, do you believe that you can be one day maybe playing for the Cayman national football team? Go like, not for me, that's for other people, you know, but not me. And that's how we set our mind to be, and that's why we kind of suppress that success in our life. But look at it this way, we are all born with the same number of neurons in our brain. What we do with them is what matters. So we have an example of the cell there, and what happened, if I give you an example of maybe most of us looking at our ages, I'm not saying that we're old, but we might not remember when we learned how to bike, because it's a long time ago. But some of you have taught your kids or other people's kids how to bike, and you know what it was like the first time? Going this way, almost falling. And average, it took them around maybe 3 to 5 attempts before they could comfortably be on the bicycle. What was happening in between the first to the 5th attempt? What was happening is the brain was trying to figure out, what do we need to do here to be able to, which muscle do we need to send to be able to ride this bike? And by doing that, we're starting to build the axons in our cells. And axons help us to transport the message faster in between the neurons. And that one help us to achieve whatever we want to achieve, whether it's in sport or whether it's in whatever subject we're struggling with. So the more we practice, the more axons we get. And after time, what we get is we get the myelin sheath, which comes and kind of like coat our axons so we don't like easily lose them. A good example is like an electric cable where we charge our laptop or our phones. If you've tried to charge your phone or your laptop with a cable that's a little bit old and the plastic is a little bit gone, you've noticed it's taken you 2 or 3 times the amount of time to charge your electric device. And that's because most current escapes because we don't have that plastic coat on top, which is the same like our myelin over there. So it's always good as we keep on practicing. Always good to know whenever we feel like there is a defeat or whenever we feel we're getting tired, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That means our brain is working. Our brain is working to solve that problem. Our brain is working to make this thing work or not. I know I've had so much, so many times I've had people asking me like, or they've said that, oh no, some people are genetically born successful in this way or that way. And they've quoted so many people we know, like, celebrities or, big sportsmen. If you look at the best musicians, you'll find that most of the times their mom or dad used to play an instrument. You look at people in sports who are successful, you will find the same thing. And now coming back, looking at the body of evidence, most basketball players. You'll find most basketball players around 6 feet tall. We have Michael Jordan, LeBron, Shaq, name them. Most of them are very tall. Look at swimmers. The most decorated Olympian, Michael Phelps, with 28 medals, 23 gold. Look at his body formation, very high torso, long legs. That give him an advantage in the water. Look at his shoulders, broad shoulders. That give him a very big advantage in the water. Look at runners. Most long distance runners come from Kenya, yay. Yeah, most of the long distance, they come from Kenya. They have long, lean legs, very light legs to move them around. So talking of this, and you can yes say, your body formation will help you, but look at it this way. We do have people like Isaiah Thomas, who is 5'6" feet, one of the best NBA players, yeah? And we have people who are tall, even in the audience. We have Mr. Devin, I believe you're 6 feet, you see. Okay, he's 6'4", he's not in the NBA. So what does that tell us, What does that tell us? That tells us is, even if you have the body for certain sport, you still need to put the effort to become that successful. If you go to the swimming pool here, or you go, Usain Bolt didn't wake up and being told, like, dress up, you're going for the Olympic to go and run. He spends a lot of hours every day to practice nutrition and everything to get where he is. So we all have to remember that everything is possible. We all can change that mindset to be a growth mindset, because we all have the same number of neurons in our brain. And we just need to put practice, we need to put determination. And one of the things you can go around is you can go around, look at if you want to be successful maybe in law, or if you want to be successful in football or wherever, go to the best, go to the people you aspire to, who are up there, and go and ask them, how did they make it there? Go to the sports people, ask them, what's your training routine? You'll find there's so much effort put there to build those axons for that certain sport, for them to be successful.